Olivia goes through a very interesting thing in the pilot. She uncovers a much deeper world that she actually really doesn't want to have anything to do with.
Someone out there is experimenting, only the whole world is a lab. You've seen it now, you know.
The title Fringe came out of that kind of idea. It's not just about people investigating fringe cases every week, it's about people exploring the fringes of their personalities and reckoning with elements of themselves that they might not know about or otherwise want to know about.
I just want to go back to before.
I don't think you can.
We will very soon learn a lot more about who Olivia is and what she carries with her and why she's a cop. There are parts of her that she is not very comfortable with. We've put her with two people who will draw those things out of her and make her far less comfortable to be in this world.
Walter Bishop's work actually forms a lot of the basis of the show. All the different experiments that he ran were co-opted by somebody. We don't know who, we don't know why, but it's being used.
Belly and I worked on this very problem.
Belly?
As in William Bell, founder of Massive Dynamic and one of the richest men on the planet. You and Walter used to share a lab together.
One of the things that interested us was the idea that Walter has this, it's almost like a doppelganger. Who's this guy that he, obviously his shadow, who's this guy that he spent so much time with? Because Walter doesn't remember a lot of his history, is not exactly aware of what his relationship was with this odd specter that's hanging over both him and the show. There's a secret about Peter, a deep secret that he may be keeping. It's a secret he may not know he's keeping. It's something he may not even know.
When you have a dad who's essentially a mad scientist, he might not simply treat you with Robitussin when you're sick. And don't forget, Walter's crazy.
Oh, that's fantastic news.
And when he says,
If you've read my file, then you know the truth about Peter's medical history.
There was no mention of any medical history.
there may be no medical history.
Broyles is such a cipher, you're not sure where he's coming from.
There is a private sector history to Broyles. He is not just someone who came out through the public service, but who's had corporate history that put him in the circle of knowing the players of the corporate world, including Nina Sharp.
We found another one.
I would be reluctant to say what it is. If we told you, we would have to change the story we're telling, and we don't want to do that because we like the story. The last thing I would say about Broyles, though, is people may want to question why he is bald. That it may be no accident that we have several bald characters on the show.
We've recorded him at over 36 scenes, all of which relate to the pattern.
What is he doing?
Watching.
The observer concept slightly comes from the idea that in quantum mechanics, nothing is real until it is observed.
And the very fact of observing an experiment changes it.
Observation can change reality.
And of course it begs the question whether there is in fact only one observer or many.
Thank you for hiding the beacon. I can't touch it myself.
Going back to a concept in science, which may or may not have something to do with this. When matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate. Another possibility is that the frequency at which the beacon is radiating is too energetic for someone with a certain condition, which could cause your hair and your eyebrows to fall out. But who knows?
Roast beef sandwich, meat raw as possible. Do you have jalapenos?
I think he does.
11 of those, please.
His senses have been incredibly dulled. So in order to taste the food, he needed to spice it up beyond what you or I could probably tolerate. In the same episode, we tell a story about how extreme cold didn't affect him at all. I wouldn't say it's a hint to who he is or who he's working with, but it is definitely a consequence of something that has happened to him in the past.
We were saved, both of us, by a man that I had never met. It was as if he were inside my head. Without speaking, he made it clear that he would need me one day.
The truth is, the story he told Peter might have been a very convenient lie.
The question is, how does the pattern relate to Walter's work, and what's it being used for now?
And what is it?
And what is it? The fact that the observer was in their lives before Peter had any awareness that he was even going to be brought into this group suggests that the pattern has been going on for some time.
A series of events has occurred. These events appear to be scientific in nature and suggest a larger strategy.
The pattern is a code word for how connected is everything in our show.
Every little instance has ripples. Even as our characters try to discover what the pattern is, they are necessarily and consequently affecting it and causing it to change.
The great thing about Agent Scott, although he's a villain, seemingly, in the pilot, that's going to become a real question. Whether or not he was actually a victim himself, perhaps, or someone on a mission that was not as clear-cut as might be the case from seeing the pilot.
I think we'll see a lot more of John Scott over time.
Hello, Liv.
And now here's a special look at what's to come on Fringe.
Check it out.
The elevator didn't fall. It drove itself into the ground.
Someone has amplified a person's electromagnetic field.
So you don't think it was a weapon that electrocuted those people?
It was a human being.
What?
I was going to say to try not to look like a cop, but I don't think there's any chance of that.
Stop or I will shoot! What is happening to them?
There's something inside her killed those people in the diner.
You have no idea who you're dealing with, what they're capable of.
What if these people aren't experiments? What if somebody's preparing for something?
Does Miss Dunham know you're here?
Hey, Liv.
You're not real.
You still think just because someone's dead, they're gone.